welcome back to my channel. I have been forever promising a run through of exactly how you set up my budget spreadsheet. I did some live sessions on this not that long ago, and it was really useful for people who already have the spreadsheet to check out how I use it. And also if you're considering purchasing it, I'll also link this video with anyone who buys the spreadsheet in the future, so you've always got a visual reference on how to set it up. So this is my budget spreadsheet for 2025, and I am just going to take you through exactly how I fill it out. First of all, you'll get the link and then you just make a copy. It is a Google Sheets spreadsheet, so you just need a Gmail account, a Google account, and you can make a copy. If you're using an iPad, I recommend you download the Google Sheets app to make it a little bit easier to work with the spreadsheet. That is completely free, as is obviously having a Google account. So first up, we have this page which has all of the instructions on here. So if you do get stuck on a particular part of the spreadsheet, you should be able to come here and look by sheet how to exactly use that. But I'm going to show you now. So the setup is really straightforward. First of all, you can use any currency. So I have put some symbols down here, which you could copy and paste if you want, but obviously just use whatever currency you want to use. That will update the entire sheet. So you put your currency symbol in there and it will work for the entire sheet. You won't need to do anything else. Obviously I'm working with pounds, so that is what I'm going to do, but I'll just show you what happens if I change that to dollars. You can now see that the rest of the spreadsheet has updated to dollars. So I'm just going to convert that back to pounds because that is what I want to work with. And there we are, we're back to pounds again for the rest of the spreadsheet as well. Just down below the currency section, you've got the budgeting year. So this is repeatable for every single year that you're doing your budget. You buy it once and you'll be able to use it for every single year. So just type in whatever year it is that you are doing, and then that will adjust all of the dates that then follow in the spreadsheet. So I am obviously in 2025. Got some little links here if you're working in this sheet and you want to link out onto a different sheet just to have a look at it. Obviously this very much depends on how you use it. You can also track the amount of money that you have in different accounts. So if you're someone that uses multiple different accounts because you save certain money in one account, certain money in another. I know that lots of you guys will probably have accounts that is specifically for sinking funds or for savings. You can track all of that here, and at any one time you can see what is in each account. You'll just need to make sure that you include the type of account in your transactions when you're later adding transactions to the sheet. So I have cash, current account, joint account is an example in there, but I don't really use this type, but I'm going to start using it now. So I'm going to say Monzo, Sterling and savings. Not sure where I'm going to keep my savings yet for this year, but I will have a separate one that is savings. Then coming over to here, enter your categories. So basically here you can just enter all of the different types of income you get: expenses, bills, savings, investments and debts. So you just want to type everything in here. If at any point during the year or during the setup or whenever you're using this spreadsheet this changes, you can add in more categories. It's absolutely fine. You've got all of this space here to add the categories. If you try to use the same category twice, the sheet will not work because it won't know where to put the money, and it will give you a warning there. So these, when it kind of highlights something, it's a warning that you're going away from how the spreadsheet is supposed to work. So we don't want duplicate categories. I have just put in my different things here. I don't have any investments that are happening at the moment, and there are my debts, etc. Then you have the debt setup. So this is slightly out of date for me, but just so you know how to use it, you will put in exactly how much your balances are for each of your debts and what your minimum payments are and what your interest is. This is really important because we do have a debt dashboard that helps you make decisions on how you're going to tackle your debt, and this interest could sway that decision depending on what you want to do. You can add some notes here if you want to, and then that will show you as well what your minimum payment is for just your debts each month before you even start to consider if you can pay any extra off. And you'll obviously get a total of your debt. Mine is a bit lower than that now. Just to add, these titles will not need to be typed in. They are coming from up here. So if I put debt 4, you will see that that then filters through to down there. So everything will filter through where possible when you've already put the information in. The same happens with the sinkings and saving funds setup. These are from the savings section here. So it's pulled down those different titles for me, and then I can add in what I want my goal to be, if I've got anything already saved for that, and how much I'm planning to pay monthly. So you can just put in what your intentions are with your savings. The next tab is the bill planner. Again, these will have pulled through from your bill section on the setup page. You just have to put in here how frequently you pay them, what the due date is. The due date is important. If you don't care and you just want a record of them, just put one for everything. It just needs that to be able to then plan out. And there are other tabs that use it, but I would suggest it's worth it being accurate, because then you can plan your month, particularly for those of you who receive money at different times in the month. And here is the amount that you put in that you pay monthly on those particular bills, and then it will populate each of the months, which will then in turn populate your monthly tabs that you'll be filling out later when you're using the spreadsheet. Don't worry if you have a bill that is not consistent every single month. You can either come in here if you know in advance. For example, I know that my council tax will not need to be paid in February or in March, so I can just go ahead and delete those out of there. When you then start another one, just start a clean sheet and the formulas will be in there. But for now, it doesn't matter, because I know I'm not going to pay those bills in those 2 months. So you can just make the adjustments here, or you can make the adjustments on the individual monthly sheets. It's totally up to you. We have other bills and subscriptions here. So this is just if you're someone who has tons and tons of subscriptions, this could get really complicated. It could be way too busy. So we've just got this separate section down here for you to record your subscriptions, but I would then just roll them up into one subscription line so that you're not actually tracking all of them. So that's just extra space, but it doesn't roll up in the same way as the bills above. And it doesn't pull anything through because we obviously haven't outlined our subscriptions before. I think most people probably have subscriptions that would fit into this space here. That is just an extra space for people who have more. Debt payments, exactly the same. It's pulling them through from the previous page. It's actually got the minimum payment because we already put that in. We can put the due date. I've put the first for everything because I don't know them. I need to go and check them. What you pay monthly, and that is a formula of what is there. And then it pulls through each of the months for you, which in turn pulls onto the monthly tabs. The next tab is the annual dashboard. Now, this isn't as useful until you've got some data in your sheet. This is really useful once you've started recording on a monthly basis where you're going. Then you can start to see where your big impact areas are, where you're spending the most money, where you're saving the most money, whatever it is that's happening with your financial picture. This is where you'll really be able to deep dive and see how it's been going. There's lots of different sections here for you to look at. So your debt payments, you can see a record of what's happened. You can see a record of your investments, record of your savings, etc. And for example, you could look at all of your variables together and see where you're spending a lot of money. It gives you averages as well for each month. So if you're spending different amounts on food each month, you can see what the average was for the year, either to help you budget differently or to plan for the future year. And then you've got an annual tracker which shows your overall expenses and everything for each month as well. You will obviously have these charts and tables that will start to be filled out once you've got data in the sheet. The calendar tab is one I really like for the planning of each month. So you go over here and you just select the year that you want. Obviously you can leave that on 2025. Select the month you want. So I want to do January. I know that January has finished for me now, but I want to fill it all out so that I know what happened in January, and I want to plan February really carefully. So I have just switched to January, and you can choose if you want your calendar to start on a Monday or a Sunday. I personally have a Monday. And then because I put my dates in on the previous tabs, it actually places my bills for me throughout the month. So that is why it would be good to get the correct dates. And then you could even print this off and use it as your monthly planner. And at least you know when things will be coming through. You can also just tick off your bills down here if that's something that's helpful for you. Again, none of this stuff has to be used, but it's just been put in there to try and help different people with different things. This is a very visual page, and I know that lots of people like to do things visually as well as on the actual spreadsheets. You've got some space for notes down here and some important dates as well, and then obviously it will show you things that have been paid, etc. The next tab is for savings. So this is one that people really like when they are saving. We've got progress bars here. So it will pull through all of the different categories that you have set up to do your savings, and it will show you how you're getting on. There'll be breakdowns. You've also got one of these sections for each of your savings. Again, with a bar, it shows you how much you've set yourself as a goal, how much you've got left to save. It estimates how many more months you need to save to get to your goal. Yeah, and that will do that for this many savings. I just haven't got as many in there. And then you've got a summary at the top for each different category and a summary for all of your savings in total. Again, this is something that will start to look better and have more information in it once you've started populating the spreadsheet. The debt dashboard is a really useful one for anyone who is in debt. It pulls through the debt that's coming through. I need to just make sure that I change my dates on here. I am no longer in 2023, so I am now in 2025, and I have different strategies here. Depending on how you want to pay your debt, be that minimums, snowball, avalanche, it will show you how long you will have left to pay your debt if you use that method. You can also type in an extra monthly payment here and see how much that wipes off of your debt. If I decided to do my debt snowball and pay, debt snowball already brings it down a little bit because I'm not just dropping off when my minimums are reducing or going away. But if I also want to pay an extra monthly payment of, say, £1,000, let's see what that does to the end date of my debt. Brings it down by a whole year to 2027. So if I had an extra £1,000 a month to pay off my debt, that is how much quicker I could pay off my debt. So this is really useful for making decisions if you are someone that's in debt. You've obviously then got, I'm just putting that back to minimums because that's where I'm at the moment. Actually, let's be real. I'm going to do snowball because I'm paying minimums at the moment, but I wouldn't stop paying that much if I, like once I've paid a debt off. So I've also got these different things here, so you can see you can just scroll across, so it shows each individual debt and what the balance is, and that will update as you go through, and that goes right across for however many debts you have included. And then you've got the monthly payments here, and you can tick them off once you've paid them and keep track of where you're at with your debts. And finally, onto the monthly tabs. So the spreadsheet already has a January to December individual monthly tabs for every single month. Again, there's some stuff at the top here that will only really work once you've populated some data in here. And basically what's in pink, you don't have to change. There are formulas there. It will pull through your bills. Let's go to an empty one so you can see how it starts. So it will pull through your bills. You can see in March, it's not pulled anything through for council tax for me because that's where I deleted it on the other one. But you could just delete it here if it was something you found out about later. And then you've got your summary over here. If you want to start with however much money you had left at the end of the last month, so i.e. pulling your rollover through, you would just tick here and then it will pull the rollover from the previous month. If you want to start your month fresh because you empty your bank account at the end of the month or you clear out any funds, then you can also do that too. You just untick that. It's pulled through all of your categories for you. So you've got income, expenses, bills and subscriptions, and there the values come through as well. Feel free to type over them on a case-by-case basis. Just remember that if you want to do a new spreadsheet, go back to the original template. You've got savings, investments and debt payments here as well. And then importantly, you have your transaction tracker down here. So this is how your spreadsheet is going to know what's happening. You are going to have to manually input your transactions. I suggest doing it once a week and just looking at your accounts and just typing it all in. Once you get used to it, it doesn't take very long at all. You just double click here, select the date, you choose your category, and then it gives you your subcategories. And then you just put your amount. You can put a description if you want. And if you remember, if you wanted to track by different account, this is where you can choose what account that particular transaction was in or out of. So you just want to do that throughout the month so that you're keeping everything up to date. Again, half an hour once a week is probably enough. And when you're just about to start the month, you want to come into here and start to plan your month. So am I expecting to get £2,000 for my pay? Am I spending £50 on my dog food? Am I spending £200 on my food? And then when you add your actual transactions into, what month are we doing? This is March. Into March, dog food, and I spend £40 rather than £50, you can see that that updates everything within the sheet, and I've now got that actual next to my budget. So you can keep an eye as you're going where you're at. If, for example, you budgeted £200 worth of food and by the third week you'd spent £300, it will show you there. And that's when you can start to say, right, next week I'm going to try and buy no food and eat out of the cupboards so I can get closer back to budget. So it's a really useful thing to do throughout the month, as well as planning for a new month. So that is a whistle-stop tour of the spreadsheet. I hope that was useful. As always, do hit me up if you've got any questions. I'm always happy to help, but hopefully that will give you a bit of an idea of how to use it best. Obviously, you've got these little things here like top 20 spending categories, expenses summaries, cash flow by payment account. There are lots and lots of other things around. which are not essential to using the spreadsheet, but might be helpful for you when you're budgeting. So make the most of those. But everything I've just told you is everything you need to know to be able to use the spreadsheet and improve your finances in 2025. I will leave the link below for this spreadsheet for anyone who doesn't already have it. And if you do already have it, happy budgeting.